What would you do if, one night, you opened your door to find two children standing on your doorstep, children with eyes so black you couldn't see any whites, and they want to come inside? Sounds like a nightmare, right? But what if I told you this is a real phenomenon that's haunted countless people across the US? These are not your typical Halloween pranksters, nor are they lost kids in need of help. These are the black-eyed children. They've been reported from coast to coast, and their encounters are far more terrifying than you can imagine. Stay with me as we unravel some of the most chilling and mysterious encounters with these eerie children. But first, let me ask you something. Have you ever heard of these black-eyed children before? What would you do if you met them in the dead of night? The first reported sightings of the black-eyed children go back to the late 1990s. In 1996, a man named Brian Bethel, a journalist from Abilene, Texas, recounted one of the first encounters that would launch the legend. Bethel described two children knocking at his car window on a dark, desolate street. They were asking for a ride, their pale faces pressed against the glass. But when he looked into their eyes, he saw nothing. No pupils, no sclera, just pure blackness staring back at him. As you can imagine, this shook him to his core. Bethel described feeling an overwhelming sense of dread, as if something was terribly wrong, as if these children weren't just asking for a ride, but asking for something far worse. But here's the twist. Is it a coincidence that these black-eyed children began appearing right around the same time as the rise of the internet and online forums? Could they be a manifestation of our darkest fears? Now, I'm not the only one telling this story. People all across the US have reported encounters with these children, children whose eyes are so dark, it's like they're peering into your soul. One such encounter occurred in a quiet town in Oregon. A woman, whose name has been kept anonymous, was at home with her children when she heard a knock on the door late at night. Thinking it was a neighbor, she opened it, only to see two children standing on her doorstep, drenched from the rain. They were eerily calm, speaking in monotone voices, and asking if they could come inside to use the phone. But as the woman looked into their eyes, her blood ran cold. They were completely black, no whites, no pupils, just an endless void. The woman described feeling paralyzed with fear, an overwhelming sense that something otherworldly, was standing before her. She slammed the door, and when she looked through the peephole, they were gone. But here's where it gets even stranger. Why are these children always asking to come inside? What is it that they want so badly? And why are they so unnervingly persistent? There's something about these encounters that's consistently unsettling. Whether in Oregon, Texas, or even Illinois, the pattern of these encounters remains shockingly similar. These children are often described as pale skin, almost sickly or ghost-like. Clothing that seems outdated, some say it's from the 1950s, others say even older. Voices that sound unnatural, as if they're not fully human. An aura of dread, like you can sense that something's terribly wrong. They never seem to have parents nearby, and they always seem to be alone, and there's that constant feeling of urgency, an unshakable fear that they don't just want to come inside, they need to come inside. But here's a terrifying thought. What if these kids aren't just lost? What if they're looking for something sinister? As unsettling as these encounters are, there are some stories that stand out, like one from a man in Nevada who claims to have seen the black-eyed children in his own home. He recalls hearing a knock at his door around midnight, and when he opened it, there they were, standing on his porch, asking to be let in. Their eyes, pitch black and void of any emotion, locked onto him, making him feel like his very soul was being drained. What happened next is enough to send chills down anyone's spine. The man felt an overwhelming pressure in his chest, like he couldn't breathe. He couldn't look away from their eyes, but then, just as quickly as they appeared, they vanished into thin air. He said it felt like time itself had paused, like something unnatural had just slipped through the cracks of reality. But the scariest part? When he tried to tell people about it, they didn't believe him. In fact, some even laughed it off. Do you think it was just his imagination? Or could it be that these children, these dark entities, have a way of silencing anyone who tries to speak out about them? Now we could go on debating whether these encounters are simply a result of overactive imaginations, or if something darker is at play. But there are those who believe these children are something else entirely. Some say they're ghosts, spirits of children who died under mysterious or violent circumstances, forever trapped in a limbo. Others believe they're extraterrestrial beings, using the appearance of children to blend in with humanity. And then, there are the conspiracy theorists who claim they're part of a government experiment, Entities bred for a dark, secret purpose. But here's the chilling question I want to leave you with. What if they're not ghosts, aliens, or government experiments? What if they're something far older? Something that has always been watching us from the shadows? As terrifying as these encounters may be, there's still no definitive answer. The black-eyed children remain one of the most chilling mysteries in modern folklore. What do you think? Are they real? Or just a product of our darkest fears? If you've ever had an encounter with something, anything that can't be explained, I want to hear your story. Drop your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more terrifying tales that will keep you up at night. And remember, if you ever find yourself face to face with the black-eyed children, don't invite them in. You may never be the same again.